since about probably June or July, which is obviously the key of golf if you're a weekend warrior like us. So or anybody for that matter. But that's like you said, it's a good sign that I could kind of scramble and still get like an 88, 89. So, now you have the unfortunate not playing for 4 months, so it's like right back to the.
You never know. You get one of those days where it's like 65, and you just like screw it. I'm taking a day. Never know.
Yeah.
But listen, we have a ton to talk about. If we would have gotten together 2 weeks ago, we would have talked about how amazing the New York Jets are because they had just come off beating Buffalo, and lordy, have things changed. We are officially like halfway or so through the NFL season. I feel like it was just a couple weeks ago that you said it was only halfway through the college football season, and already we got Michigan, Ohio State this week, which really is kind of a signifier of the end of the season. So we got a lot to talk about, so let's just jump right into it. What do we have from some of the games from last week in the NFL?
Last week, my friend, week 11 review, Thursday night, the Titans go into Lambeau Field and beat the Packers.
So we always kind of mention this in passing, but I think it needs to go stated more as like a maybe as a definite. Mike Vrabel's one of the best coaches in the NFL. I think it's time we get off the maybe
top 3, and it's not even close.
Top 3? I mean, do we still have Belichick?
Put all factors together.
Do we still put Belichick in this
that's
category?
Two separate conversations, probably. If they make the playoffs with this team, which they might. Yeah, I think you have to, right? I mean, him.
So they still got McVay.
No longer there.
No,
I got him over McVay with the talent difference that they fucking had. Are you out of your mind? I'm saying
you got
everything on the table.
You have Vrabel ahead of McVay? I mean, McVay just won a Super Bowl.
But look, he had the best defensive player in the league. He has a whole future Hall of Fame quarterback.
Wow, that's true.
Cornerback, Hall of Fame corner. I mean,
I will say this, and this is where I think we agree. Where we agree is that Vrabel does the most with the least. He is kind of like the new Belichick.
I'll give you one guy that's for sure ahead of him.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. No, who's ahead?
Andy Reid's definitely.
I think Andy Reid has kind of separated himself from the rest of the league at this point. I gotta be honest with you. I know it's only one Super Bowl, but Andy Reid has done it with multiple quarterbacks, and now we look back and we say he did it with McNabb, he did it with Michael Vick, he did it with Garcia, and now that you see him with a guy like Mahomes, you're like, this guy, this guy's one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the sport. Period. Maybe he needs a second Super Bowl to validate the career totally, but my dude, you're absolutely right. But I just think Vrabel needs to be recognized as
you're a little bit of a delay here.
We both are. Yeah, we're delaying a little bit, so we'll do the best we can with this. Because I wouldn't know how to correct that even if I could.
I can't. What's going on? Yeah, a little bit of.
We have a little delay. We'll do the best we can. Hopefully, I don't know. It might be on my end with the computer. I don't know. It's hard to say.
Okay.
But we'll do the best we can. So I agree with you. I think we're in agreement, but I just wanted to make it more of a definitive statement. Mike Vrabel is one of the best coaches in the NFL. He deserves to be recognized that way. And it just every year it starts off the same where we're like, I don't know. They lost a couple guys, different team, blah, blah, blah. And here they are. Once again, one of the best records in the AFC, leading their division, doing the same thing they always do. They're more physical than their opponents. They're smarter than their opponents. They don't make a lot of mistakes. No, Tannehill is not great, but he does the job. And they get a lot of wins. Now, he needs those playoff wins to really take it to the next level as far as validating him. But they're a good football team, man. And nobody wants to play them. That's the other thing. Nobody really wants to play them because they play a different style than everybody else. Are you back there now? You got me? I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
I got you, but it's a battle here.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We're sitting here at 6 minutes and 19 seconds. I'm going to exit out and re-enter in a minute, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to close the whole thing out, and then I'll send you a new link. I'll send you a whole new link.
Okay. Let's do that.
All right, bye. Yep. Some technical difficulties there. Let's see.
Sounds better already.
Yeah, hopefully.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that was bizarre. Plus, it's still rolling on.
Oh, good. So you can edit
YouTube,
it out.
So yeah, on the YouTube one I can't. But
all right,
fuck it. Let me just get this thing fired up
Holy
on the recording.
Moly.
Yeah, that was weird. That was definitely on my end.
You were like way behind too, bro. And then you were like
Yeah.
just stuck, and I was spinning. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
I hear like one out of every 10 words you said. So
yeah. And
I
think we're back.
Hard to communicate that way.
It definitely is. All right, so we had some technical difficulties there, a little bit of problem, but I think we got it fixed. We were talking about how, I think it's official that Mike Vrabel's one of the best coaches in the league. I think what's also helping them, a lot of questions in the offseason before the draft when they traded A.J. Brown to the Eagles. Who's this kid, the kid that they drafted out of Arkansas, a wide receiver? Burks is actually starting to come around.
Yeah.
He looks like he's becoming a player, and it just makes them look even smarter because instead of giving a guy $25 million, not that AJ Brown's not a great player, but they were like, we can use that money elsewhere, and they end up looking smart because the kid's really starting to become a ball player, and still they have 7-2, 8-2 record, whatever the hell they are. So,
Buffalo beats Cleveland in Detroit.
Weird situation, obviously. I actually think this is a good, impressive win for Buffalo with all that weather shit considered and the way they've been playing lately, not so hot, to kind of go on the road for a home game, to even get out of their house. I don't know if you saw some of the pictures and videos.
Crazy.
Jesus, I've never seen snow that deep in my life, like in a neighborhood.
Neighbors trying to get players out to awesome.
It was crazy. So, And I think, not for anything, I think the Bills did something that we talked about. Like, hey, clearly the best team in the AFC East. You have a leg up on the Chiefs because you beat them head to head. You need to like force feed the running game, and not that they did it a ton, but you could definitely see in that game. They're like, we're gonna figure out one way or another. We're gonna establish a fucking running game because we can't keep doing this. So, And not that it was great, but there has to be a threat of running the ball. And on the other side, let's be honest, like Jacoby Brissett is not the problem. I know everybody, like some people, whoever doesn't think it's disgusting what Deshaun Watson did, like some people, I guess in Cleveland especially, would be excited that he's coming back. But Jacoby Brissett has not been the problem there at all. He's played, outside of a game here or there, he's played pretty well. So I don't know that that's going to make a big difference.
Their defense has been really bad most of the year because you could say Chubb's had a good year.
Yeah.
Cooper's had a really good year. Peoples-Jones has stepped up in his second receiver spot. They have Hunt, Spilling, Chubb. Like their offense has been okay.
And it was supposed to be their defense that was keeping them in games this year.
Yeah.
So not good.
The Philadelphia Eagles escape the Colts.
Not a great game, but that's kind of a sign of a good team. Now, what I'm hearing around is that the league is kind of catching up to what they do. You see a team, and the second time around, things are a little different. People are starting to see what they do. What this league will always do, they'll find a way to take away your strength. And then they'll say, beat us with your weakness. This is why, like, the running quarterback thing always looks great during the regular season. And then once the late games and then the playoffs come, it never works because you have to be able to do things that you're uncomfortable with. So, yeah, well, that was like my takeaway from this. Is like, well, go ahead. I'm gonna let you go for a sec.
Matt Ryan, still good enough to play, but not good enough to really make an impact anymore.
It's interesting because it's like a real physical decline. Like the arm strength is an issue, which a year ago wasn't the case.
And he's like the typical Tom Brady step up in the pocket, like pocket presence.
Yeah.
That's gone.
Yeah, now their line is not as good as was probably advertised before the season started. Like he's getting a lot more pressure than he even used to get in Atlanta. But yeah, it's not great. But again, let's be honest with you. I don't think if this was 3 weeks ago, I don't even think we thought the Colts would be in the game with the Eagles.
Fair.
So you could say we didn't really get to talk about the Jeff Saturday thing, but while yes, it was a bizarre hire, it doesn't mean it's a bad hire. Like just because I wouldn't have done it or you wouldn't have done it and it looks a little strange doesn't mean it's bad. Like, and let's be honest, they won the first game and they played pretty well against one of the best teams in the league. So
far, it doesn't look that bad.
It doesn't at all.
And let's be honest, too, they don't exactly have Reggie Wayne, Marvin Harrison, Dallas Clark.
Nope. Got some real issues there on the outside. They don't have. I mean, you got Pittman, who's probably a B plus, B or B plus, but they don't have anything like that. Yeah, not even like a T.Y. Hilton, like in his prime.
Right.
So,
all right, Peter, it's time.
Oh boy,
Jets, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is kind of an embarrassing game, and on a couple different levels. Now, I actually. Listen, Zach Wilson was 7 of 22. Was it 90-something yards? 92 yards? I don't even know. 2 yards total offense in the second half. It's atrocious. But it was 30-mile-an-hour winds, and they had him really kind of throwing a ball, like pushing the ball really downfield, which I don't know how wise that was. But as I look back on some of the film, I don't think he played as bad as people think he did. And he played pretty bad. But they're making it out that he was worse. And I think the big mistake he made that made the play look worse was the comment in the post-game presser where he was asked, do you feel like you let your defense down? And his response was no. Now, if you were going to say no in that spot, the sentence that immediately has to follow is no, I don't think I let my defense down. I feel like I let my whole team down. Like, you're the quarterback, dude. You got picked number 2 overall. You're the MILF hunter. You're all this stuff, and you like that. Well, when the shit hits the fan, you need to be able to take it. And this was an utter disaster on that end. Listen, it was a 3-3 game. It's not like the other team was lighting it up. Why? It was windy. It was rough. Anybody will tell you, you'll take rain over wind any day of the week. You can throw the ball in the rain. You can't throw the ball in the wind. It's just way too difficult to control. So, and it was evident. But, too wild. His mechanics have gotten just wacky out of control. There's one thing to say you could eventually be Aaron Rodgers. It's another thing to start acting like it now with your technique and your form. You're not there yet. Like, Aaron Rodgers can do that because he's been doing this for 16, 17 years. You can't do that yet. So that's the real shame of it.
I'm going to
go ahead.
Finish up.
I was just going to say, obviously, the big news is that they benched him for this upcoming game. And it's even worse than that, dude. They're not even dressing him.
No shit. I didn't hear that.
He's not even being dressed. He's Joe Flacco is the backup for this game. Mike White's going to start, and Joe Flacco is the backup.
Do you think it got worse in the locker room after the press conference?
So what Saleh said is we're going to give him like a reset here. Like, things have just gotten too loose and too out of control, and he's like, we don't think you can redo your mechanics while also trying to. So with all that said, I think this is a huge mistake. Unless Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh have already decided that they're going to move on from Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Because what happens here? Mike White goes out there on Sunday against one of the worst defenses in the entire NFL and puts up monster numbers, 3 touchdown passes. The Jets roll, win by 17 points against probably no Justin Fields. And now you can't go back to Zach Wilson, because the fans will never allow that. What if Mike White goes out there and lays an egg and shits the bed? Do you go back to Zach Wilson now? Like, so you've given up.
Funny or not, so here with the Patriots when they did with Mac Jones with Zappy.
Yeah, but that was Mac Jones coming off an injury.
But then they pulled him out of a game.
Yeah, no, that was weird, and it was strange, right?
Yeah.
And it caused a real rift.
Yeah.
But Belichick has the gravitas to do something like that too.
He has the back of the football card to
This is what I'm saying. So
fair.
So it was funny because before this move, I was thinking about the podcast and I'm thinking, how do I say this? And I was, I'm thinking you start him. You can put pressure on him and say, we don't know. I got no problem with that, to be honest with you. I liked Saleh coming out and saying, we're going to evaluate everything. We just don't know. But you got to play him. Because let's say Mike White, do you think Mike White is the future?
Me?
I don't think so. Does anybody think Mike White, they're evaluating Mike White on whether or not he could be the starter moving forward? I don't think so. So, but what if Mike White does good and he, pulls a Taylor Heineke? Now you have to play him. And now at the end of the season, what do you do with Zach Wilson? Do you move on? You need these last 7 games. Listen, the Jets were wildly ahead of schedule. Wildly ahead of schedule. They are, what are they right now? 6-4? Are they 6-4?
Are they 6-3?
No, they definitely got 4 losses now.
Yeah, then they're 6.
Dude, we were talking about them being 0-8 through the first 8 games of the season because the schedule was so tough. Like they're fighting for a playoff spot. Let's also remember they are 5-2 with him as the starter. You have 6-4. That means you got 7 games left. If Mike White plays good and you have to keep him in there, you now have no information of whether or not Zach Wilson got any better, whether he learned from his mistakes. Did he grow? Can he grow? You have no idea. Unless you're literally saying this is a 1-week thing, we're just giving him a chance to step back, watch the game, take some pressure off for a minute, and hey, we'll get back at it next week. I can see some value in that. But the problem is if Mike White goes out against a really bad team and puts up some really good numbers and wins by double digits, the fans are not going to accept you going back to Zach Wilson. They're just not.
All right, a couple things. One, I'm going to give you a positive about the game. Your defense is outstanding.
Phenomenal.
Number 2, you miss Breece Hall in the worst fucking way possible. It's insane because the whole game plan changed. James Robinson hasn't done a thing. 3.
Now, part of that, in their defense of both James Robinson, Michael Carter, and Zach Wilson, this is a makeshift offensive line. We didn't get a couple of guys.
Yeah, you know what? Fair. I forgot about that. That's
Laken Tomlinson at this point is the only one on the offensive line that is still like a real starter.
AVT's went out. That's fair. You're right.
Yep. Got 4 other new starters on the offensive line. So it's a little tough. I don't know how great the running game would have been anyway. Plus, listen, the reality is New England does have a very good defense. I mean, it's a very, very good defense. It's not 3 points shut you out defense, but, you know. And what was your third point?
Third point, there's got to be something there with Wilson not being a leader either because not being a captain at BYU was a thing we talked about 2 years ago with the draft.
Now, you understand that in the preseason, his team chose him as to be the captain.
I did not know that.
They did. He was selected by team vote to be one of the captains. So I'm just going to tell you this because I know there's a national media that doesn't watch every press conference after every Jets game because they can't. There's enough for them to watch. But I do. This is what I say. I think we're overreacting a little on what he said after the game. The kid was pissed. What he said was horrible. It's the first time I've heard him do that, though. Every other game, whether win, lose, or draw, whatever he does, he always takes it on himself. I actually look at him being pissed and talking like that to the media after game as a good thing because he's not just accepting what is. He's pissed. If you think that's a guy that's indifferent, then you don't know what you're talking about. He's pissed. He's pissed at himself, but he's a child, so he's lashing out at the media and whoever's, questioning his ability or whatever. But that's the first time I've seen him do that. Every press conference, he always takes responsibility and says, I need to work on my game. I have a lot of work to do. I need to get better. So that's why I was a little surprised with it. So to answer your question, I don't know if he has lost the locker room. I know it can happen. It can happen that quick, though, because when you're saying nah, I didn't, it's you could see almost everybody's head in the locker room, especially the guys on defense. What? Yeah, you did.
Garrett Wilson, too.
That quickly.
Yeah.
Well, fuck Garrett Wilson. He does need to shut his mouth a little bit. Dude, you've been on the field for about 10 minutes. Slow down.
Yeah. Fair
you're not Terrell Owens. You don't have the numbers. Just shut up a little bit.
But
he's not wrong.
But looking at it from the other way, he probably lost 4 games his whole life.
Well, this is the NFL now. You can say the same thing about Trevor Lawrence, and he's learning how to lose and be gracious in losing. Just shut up. Especially if you're a rookie, just shut up.
Let's go to the other nightmare in town. The Detroit Lions, and as soon as we jump off the wagon, 3 in a row,
right?
Here they come. The Lions exposed the G-men, and I think the Giants are going to have a tough time down the stretch here.
They got a pretty rough stretch coming up here. Listen, I think Daboll is a great coach. We've been saying it all along, although we were being proven wrong up until recently. We've been saying all along that they're doing it with smoke and mirrors. And as I was saying before about the Eagles and how maybe the rest of the league is catching up to them and saying, now that we see how you've been winning, we're going to take away what you do best. I think that may be the case with the Giants. I think you're probably getting teams that are like loading the box. They're saying, we're not going to give you Saquon. Like, let's keep it real. For the first 6 or 7 games, it was like, run the ball to Saquon, throw the ball to Saquon. Saquon Barkley was the entire offense. And then Daniel Jones run for 90 yards and a touchdown.
And they're losing guys left and right now, too.
Right.
So.
And now the other teams are lining up and saying, well, we could take one guy away. Go beat us with the rest of your team. And they can't. So that's why it was smoke and mirrors all along, which is incredible by Daboll. The fact that he had them at 7-1 is bananas. But
for sure.
Yeah.
We'll
talk about who they got next week coming up.
Yeah. Slow down. I got 2 more for you.
Well, because I start thinking ahead. I'm like, it really could get ugly in a hurry. What are they now? Are they 7-4? 7-3?
7-3. But they have.
I can see that thing going 7-7 real quick.
They have Eagles twice. Commanders twice.
Got Cowboys coming up.
Cowboys, Vikings. Yeah, it's tough. Speaking of the Vikings, Cowboys go into Minneapolis and blow the doors off.
Yeah, bad game. And this is a perfect example. I may have something to say about the Vikings later. This is a perfect example. Be careful. Be really careful about recency bias and saying, well, Dallas is clearly one of the best teams in the league. And now, Minnesota was fake all along. They played horrible. Dallas played perfect. Dallas did exactly what they wanted to do. Minnesota couldn't do anything that they wanted to do. And, that rock got rolling down the hill, and all the Vikings could do was get the hell out of the way. They couldn't stop it. But I don't take anything more away from it than a win for the Cowboys, which is a good win for the Cowboys. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go crazy with the 40-3.
Kansas City Chiefs, last-minute comeback at the LA Chargers. I hate looking at that guy Staley's face. I think he's very much on a hot seat. I don't know who's on a hotter seat, him or Cliff Kingsbury. How about Nathaniel Hackett?
Yeah. He's probably too.
His ass is probably on fire. He needs water as we speak, I think.
But you know what? Here's the difference in those two. Most people at least recognize that Russell Wilson isn't playing up to par either. Like if you watch the Buffalo, if you watch the Denver game, you hear the announcers saying, well, he did miss these guys that are open. You don't see that with the Chargers games.
No, you do not.
And oh, by the way, he's missing, Herbert's missing his 2 top receivers. Like it's not him. It's not Herbert. Herbert's not the freaking problem here. Okay.
It's fair.
But Kansas City continues to do it. You mentioned Andy Reid before as one of the best coaches. Patrick Mahomes, dude.
Yeah. I know.
It's just like if there's time on the clock, you have to find a way. You got to. It's just weird. Like you don't think they can. You think they will. Like if there's any time left on the clock and Patrick Mahomes is going to get the ball back, you're not like, oh, they might score. You're like, yeah, they're going to score. It's just it's crazy.
In my head, I would have Tony Gonzalez number 1, Gronkowski 2. And I would have had Gates, but I tell you, Kelsey is absolutely, I think, rocking up the tight end charts. The guy he's uncoverable.
If you were to ask, I know why you put Gronk up there, but if you were to ask me who would you rather have as a tight end, I'd rather have Kelsey.
I think you're right.
I'd settle for Gronk. I don't mean it like that. Of course, I would take Gronk, but because Kelsey's really fast too.
All right, Mickey Schuler.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think Kelsey's even better. But yeah, it was funny because somebody the other day, I know Mahomes had said, he's the best tight end in the history of the sport. I'm like, Tony Gonzalez is pretty freaking good, dude. Yeah, he was really good.
And I might have something to say about Tony Gonzalez in a little while, actually.
You bet on Tony Gonzalez?
Week 12 preview, sir?
Yes. Let's see what we got coming up this week.
I think the Thanksgiving slate is pretty interesting.
It starts off with starts off with the Detroit and
the Buffalo Bills.
Buffalo really has an advantage having played in that stadium last week, right?
It's crazy.
It's almost like it's another back-to-back home games in a weird way.
And you knew they flew home, right? They didn't stay.
They did fly home.
Yeah.
And to go where? Into an igloo?
I think maybe to figure shit out at home. I don't know.
Holy shit! I just don't know, where do you go? That's why I was like, where does all this snow go?
Yeah,
you know, you and me, we get 1.5 feet of snow, which is a fucking national disaster.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're piling up snow, and it's above your head, and you're like, shit, I got no place else to put it, dude. The snow starts above your head. Where's that going?
Nuts.
Crazy. They said the snow won't melt until May. Anyway,
yeah, because you're gonna get more like
tomorrow. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I don't know. So this to me is similar to where the Jets played Buffalo. They don't need to win this game, even though the Jets ended up winning. Detroit doesn't need to win this game, but if they're in the game, I think if they're in the game with even like a chance to play maybe a possession to win the game, or if they stop Buffalo, they could, something like that. If they're in the game with 5-6 minutes left, I would look at that as a win for them, especially coming off 3 straight wins.
I know I'm biased here. Hutch is no joke, dude.
Oh, no, come on. He's fantastic. He almost single-handedly,
holy shit, dude,
won the game against Green Bay. It's just, he's really good. He's really good.
The game that we've been itching to get to here, the Giants at the Cowboys in the mid-afternoon slate. Everyone just finishing up their turkey, pants unbuckled.
For sure.
Cocktail in hand.
Going into that nap time.
Yeah.
I think the Giants are in trouble. And I can't put my finger on anything that like this is what they're really good at. You know what I'm saying?
Well, their defense was playing really well until last week.
But
now they lost 2 guys there, and but their receivers are you, and it's insane.
This is what I'm saying. Like, what do they do really well? And Dallas is going to do everything they can to take away Saquon. So then you have to say, like, well, what else are they going to do? And you're going to rely on Daniel Jones. You got no receivers to throw to, a mediocre tight end. Half decent offensive line. Offensive line has been upgraded a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I can't see it, man. I can't see it, which means Giants will probably win. But
to focus on the other side of it, no doubt, too. Now, the Cowboys got to start putting a couple together here. You can't have a clunker after a great win. That's what the Vikings did, a clunker after a great win.
I like
a division rival game.
What I like seeing from the Cowboys, though, is like they've done what you and I said they should do, which was stick with that kind of game plan that you had when Cooper Rush was your quarterback.
Yes.
Run that ball. Dude, Tony Pollard is friggin' really good.
Stud.
It's embarrassing that they even give Zeke the ball because God bless you. You got this other guy who's just explosive and quick and whoo. Man, does he look like
he's out of the backfield too. He's catching bombs down the sideline like he's fucking Lynn Swan.
Yep. Dak looks good. This is a perfect role for Dak, Throw the ball 25 to 30 times a game, most of that off of play action pass because Tony Pollard's running the ball. Dude, when they can do that, they're tough, And then because then what'll happen then is, you're falling behind. You have to pass a lot more than Micah Parsons gets after you and those guys. And, that's exactly how they want to do it. So, we'll see if they can continue that against the Giants.
The Thursday night finale, the Patriots at the Vikings. You said you might have a little tease later on. So
yeah, I do because I
understand.
Yeah, because Vikings coming off an ugly loss at home, get to stay home, and the Patriots with that strange win against the Jets. So, Vikings want to say that they're legit. They're a real team, that these weren't fluke wins, even though they were close games. Couple they had to come from behind, couple they had to hold on for dear life. Well, this is a game that a good team lays an egg. They come back next week and play really well. We'll see if they can do that.
I don't know. I don't know which way you're leaning.
Yeah, I don't know.
However, I just want to remind you, this is not a 1:00 Sunday kick for Kirk again.
A primetime game, right?
So just saying.
Says everything you need to know.
I only have 2 games here for Sunday, dude. I think it's a really weird, kind of ugly slate this week. Bengals at Titans. I think it's a fucking great game.
It is a great game. This is a game of like 2 teams that are kind of rounding into form. Cincinnati is kind of pulling like a Kansas City from the last couple of years where they start off slow, but Joe Burrow's starting to get his thing. They're starting to run the ball a little better. That defense is actually pretty good. It's not bad at all. It's a pretty decent defense. They get Jamar Chase back in a couple of weeks, probably within the next couple of weeks. you can kind of see this thing where like Cincinnati's looking like they'll be just about ready to go with like 2 games left in the season, to make the playoffs and be ready for the playoffs. And then Tennessee is what we talked about earlier, they just show up every week. You don't get clunkers out of them. Doesn't mean they win every game, but you better be ready to play like a really physical style of football. And, with the way the NFL is set up these days with practices and there's like no physicality in our practice anymore, it's just different. It's unique. It's what makes them good. It's what makes the Jets defense good because they do things that most other teams in the NFL these days don't do. Makes it for an interesting matchup sometimes. So I wanted to talk about one thing before. You said you have no more games left?
I got one more.
You got one more. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Packers at Eagles, Sunday night football.
It's a better game in our heads than it is in reality, you think? I don't know.
Yeah, it looks that way, but
you have
for some reason you can't give up on Green Bay yet. It's like
and the Eagles haven't exactly been playing lights out the last 3 weeks like they had in the beginning of the season. So yeah, it's a perfect spot for Aaron Rodgers to get his shit together and start playing really well. Start trusting some of these younger guys,
Definitely.
And that's it's like he's so reluctant to do that, and it's kind of sad in a way. But I understand it. But what options do you have, dude? You gotta put some trust in these guys that they're gonna make plays.
Yeah,
they're out there. This is what you got. So anyway,
you want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say this. Like, it's amazing to me. We've been on the whole Justin Fields thing since before he even got into the league, and it's like, yeah, the last was it 3 or 4 weeks? Running the ball amazing. No one's ever doubted his athletic ability or his speed or strength or running the ball or anything like that. Of course, we've said that right from the start. He's a great athlete. We kind of compared him to Cam Newton, but probably a better passer than Cam Newton. But if you watch the last 2 games specifically, then you would be left with no choice than to agree with us. Both of those games were relatively close. He had amazing stats as far as running the ball. And then because he runs the ball, he looks really good in the red zone because teams give up on the receiver quick to stop him. And then he makes a nice little pass. Okay, so he could throw the ball 7 yards. I'm not terribly impressed by that. But what you also saw in both of those games is that they were close down the stretch. And when you have to throw it, and the other team knows you have to throw it, you can't get it done.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm talking about. I forget who they played 2 games ago. Might have been Miami.
Or Detroit.
2 games ago it was Miami, I'm pretty sure. Who did they just play this week that he got hurt?
Atlanta.
Yeah, so it happened in this game too. But it was a microcosm in the last game against Miami. Because even Mike McDaniel had said, like, I tried to get him to stop and he wouldn't listen. But then they were down by 3 or 4 in the fourth quarter, got the ball back with 2 minutes left. Let's see, Justin Fields is going to drive him down the field. Didn't even get a first down. Why? Because he holds the ball too long. He has to throw it. You can't run it with 1 minute and 24 seconds left to drive 80 yards. You can't run it anymore. Now you have to throw. And he throws the ball too long because his decision-making is slow and his anticipation right now stinks. And he didn't even get a first down. And he got sacked once, if not twice. And that is what we're talking about here. He runs the ball phenomenal. He's an amazing athlete, but he just doesn't process fast enough as a quarterback to be a distributor when everyone knows you're passing the ball. It's all you need to know. Yes, he can keep games close. He can run the ball, which most teams have struggled. But when it comes down to crunch time, he's not there. Let's not forget, who the hell was it? Dan Orlovsky officially signed up for the dumbest statement of the year by saying that Justin Fields should be an MVP candidate. You do realize all these games that you're talking about him playing fantastic, they lose. Like, you got to win games before you can talk about being an MVP candidate.
Wow.
Stop it, dude. It's embarrassing. So, yes, amazing athlete. Does some incredible things that are tough to stop because he's a big kid. Lamar Jackson's fast, but he's kind of lean. He's not. Justin Fields is a big, strong kid, and he's fast. So it's tough. It's tough to stop him on the ground. So that's why games have been close and they've been using him. And then what happens? He gets hurt. Now how's your running quarterback look? Just in the end, you're a distributor of the football. Look at how the rules are set up. They're set up for the quarterback who passes the ball because that's what fans like. And he doesn't do that well. And you're just not going to win games. MVP candidate. Win a goddamn game. MVP candidate. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's a little strong.
That's my thing on that.
That's going to take me to a little game I want to play with you called the Zach Wilson game.
I love games. I don't know if I'm going to like this one, though.
I don't think
the Zach Wilson game.
You're going to have to take your cape, your jet cape off here for a minute.
You got to be unbiased?
I know you're not the biggest fan of him right now.
I'm not.
But
I can always, even if I am, I can always be honest.
Moving forward, I got 4 guys for you.
Oh, boy.
Would you rather have Zach Wilson
or
Daniel Jones?
Zach Wilson.
You're wrong.
Because I think I've seen the best you're going to get out of Daniel Jones, and I don't want that either. So I'm going off of the fact that I still think Zach Wilson potentially could be significantly better than Daniel Jones. So I wouldn't want either one of them right now. But I think what you've seen out of Daniel Jones is who he is. I think
who would you say had better weapons right now around him?
Oh, the Jets, no doubt. Yeah, no, I get that.
Okay.
But I think Daniel Jones stinks. I think he's below average.
Guess who's playing quarterback this week? Guess who's not?
I'm just telling you. You asked me who I'd rather have.
I'm playing the game with you, bro.
No. I'm telling you. Yeah, I wouldn't want either one of them. If I would go draft somebody else. But I'm saying if I have to have one or two, I would stick with Zach Wilson because his ceiling is significantly higher.
Would you rather have Zach Wilson
or
Taylor Heineke? Let's go.
So Taylor Heineke isn't even in the same class with Zach Wilson physically. But what Taylor Heineke has, and this is unique sometimes to certain quarterbacks, his teammates love him. Those guys will run through a brick wall for Taylor Heineke. Why? Because they've seen him try to run through a brick wall for them. Okay?
Yep.
We have talked many times about the psychology of sports, that your guys have to believe in you. So it makes Tom Brady so great is that those guys believe in him, that they know how hard he's fighting, so they fight that hard. You know, if you were asking me, like, I'm starting a team, who would you rather have? I would rather take Zach Wilson. But I tell you what, like the way the two teams are constituted right now, I wouldn't hate having Taylor Heineke as my quarterback right now. For the rest of the season or something like that.
Would you rather have? Now this one's gonna be good. This one's gonna be good. I was gonna lead off with this one, but I had to let. Would you rather have Zach Wilson
or
Justin Fields?
Oh, dude. I knew this one was coming too.
Yeah, buddy.
Right now, I don't like either one of them.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, if you're not watching this live, his face right now, he looks like he's in agony. This is fantastic.
I don't want to have to spit out either of their names. Oh boy. I guess I would still say Zach Wilson based on.
You have to after the disagreement you had about Fields. You have to.
Yeah, no. Wilson. Well, because do you want someone for now, like you were saying with Taylor Heineke? Like I wouldn't mind having him for the rest of the season, but I'm not building my team around Taylor Heineke. If you're talking about like you're still going to try to build around him, I'd rather have Zach Wilson than Justin Fields.
Last one for you.
But I don't want either of them. You could throw them both out for me.
Last one that I want to reverse on something. Would you rather have Zach Wilson
or
Geno Smith?
Oh, wow. Oh, dude.
Listen, they don't give these jobs to chimps, man. You know what I mean?
Dude, Geno is friggin' spinning it right now, man. He's got a really strong arm. Like, Geno is...
It took him a little while to figure it out, but he figured it out.
I tell you what, man. Yeah, I mean, right now, I would definitely take Geno Smith. But here's the thing, like, how does that work? Are you saying like a straight up trade? I would never do that. Like I would keep Zach Wilson. But like
but
if I could just have one of the two for the rest of
why wouldn't you?
Because I just don't think Geno's in for the long haul.
If okay, hear me out. If Geno gives you 5 more years of what he's doing now,
I don't know that. Yeah, that's
I don't know
asking
either.
a lot.
But you don't know if Zach Wilson's going to be on the team in 2 years.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. This is a really tough spot for me, man, because I'm a Zach Wilson guy. I've defended him.
I know.
But his mechanics have gotten so loose that balls are just it's ugly. It's ugly.
Yeah, ugly is the word.
It's ugly right now. They're just flying all over the place with just it seems like willful disregard.
You were saying before how Taylor Heineke, how the Commanders love playing for him.
Yeah.
Everyone around the Jets organization saying the same thing about Mike White.
I know, but it's easy to say. You know, they didn't say that after he threw 3 interceptions against Buffalo last year.
This is true.
Like when he threw for 405 and 5 touchdowns, everybody wanted to suck him off. But then when he threw for 3 interceptions, well, I knew better. So, you know, show me what everybody thinks after a 3-game losing streak. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's bad business. The kid is a second-year quarterback. He missed 4 or 5 weeks between preseason and the first 3 games of the season. Had an injury issue last year where he missed a few weeks. He's got 20 starts under his belt, and you're throwing him under the bus when you got a 6-4 record and he's 5-2 as a starter. I think it's a mistake. Does that mean I think he's been playing well? No, I don't think he's been playing great. I think there's been some games where they haven't asked a lot of him, and then this last game he played pretty poorly. Although I don't think it was as poor as some people think. So I think it's. I don't think it's a good idea to bench him. I just don't think it's a good idea to bench him. There's so many directions. There's so much that can happen with this 1 week that leaves you handcuffed. Like I said, if Mike White plays really well and your plan was to just sit Zach for a week, get his head straight, and get back in there, now you can't. You just got stuck with Mike White. So I think it's a mistake. Plus, you want to evaluate this kid so that you know coming into the preseason, hey, are we drafting another quarterback? Are we making a trade for somebody? What if he doesn't play the rest of the season? Now you don't even know. How do you evaluate that?
Right.
Unless, as I said, they've already made up their mind. We're done with this kid. I can't imagine that's the case. That's the only other scenario that makes sense.
I can't imagine it's a case either, but it's just a shame that, like, again, same thing with Sam Darnold, dude. He gets hurt in the fucking preseason, and he's so behind the 8 ball here, and now it's
for a young quarterback to miss the last 3 weeks of the preseason. I think that hurts a lot.
I agree.
I think it hurts a lot. So, but I wouldn't have done this. You can't 3 weeks ago say you're behind him 100%, and then 3 weeks later you're going to sit him and not even let him dress.
Yeah. No, it's
that just screams done with this kid.
It just comes off funny too to me.
Yeah, it just screams like you're done with this kid. So,
listen, young players are going to be emotional. You can't be the guys above him be emotional either. Like you got to kind of
correct. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Like what he said was dumb. But you should have sat his ass down and said, You can't talk like that. You're going to go back out there tomorrow and not only apologize for what you said, but you're going to make an apology to your teammates, or else you've lost this team. Now, there's a really good chance that conversation actually happened.
Yeah.
And maybe Zach Wilson turned to him and said, fuck you, I'm not apologizing for shit. There's a possibility of that. I don't know. Okay, because why haven't we heard that? Why haven't we heard
would be career suicide?
What's that?
It would be career suicide if he did do that.
If he did?
If he said, fuck you, I'm not doing that.
Well, no, I mean in private, in the meeting.
Oh, that he apologized?
No. If as a former head coach, I would have had Zach Wilson in my office.
No, I know what you're saying.
This is what you're going to do. But he might have turned to the coach and said, screw you, I'm not doing it.
But that's what I'm saying. If he did say that to them, he's a
maybe idiot. That's why he's benched.
Yeah. And not dressed.
maybe they had that conversation and he didn't respond very well to that order.
Oh shit! Can you imagine
which would be my guess because it seems like there had to have been something more than just that statement and just the bad play. Like it just like again, as a former coach, I'm thinking I'm not just sitting you for that. I actually would sit you more for something you said to me, which I have done. A kid telling me basically to go fuck myself in private, Okay, you're done. On the field is emotional. It's high energy. It's like balls to the wall, And then he makes one mistake in front of the media. I'm not going to kill him for that. But in a private moment with me and you, that'll have a problem with. So I would be willing to bet that something more like that went on that we don't know about. That Salah's keeping under wraps, which he should, unless you're giving up on it. Think of what they did 3 weeks ago when Elijah Moore spouted off. What'd they do? They sat him down, didn't even let him dress. Think about who you want to be, young man. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't surprise me if this is very similar. The difference is there's 4 or 5 wide receivers on the field at a time.
Right.
So you can slide them back in and get, do it in a way that it's not a big deal.
Yeah,
only funny. One quarterback, my man. And if Mike White plays well, you're stuck with him, at least for the next game. So unless you would have come out and said, hey, it's a 1-game thing, no matter what Mike White does, we're going back to Zach. We just need him to take a step back, watch from a little bit of a distance, get that 35,000-foot view a little bit, kind of gather himself, take a minute, and then we're getting right back to our guy because we believe in him. Otherwise, you're basically telling him we're done with you. So it's rough.
I listen. I know people. Geno Smith, prime example. He's turned his career around. Taylor Heineke. It just doesn't look good right now for Wilson. It just doesn't. It doesn't look good at all.
The attitude thing, when people look at you as a Johnny Manziel type player, where your attitude is, "I don't give a fuck. Like, I didn't do it. It wasn't my fault."
Ryan Leaf,
yeah. Like when you look like that type. You could lose the fans real quick. You lose your teammates real quick. You lose the media real quick. You could do that as a wide receiver. You could do that as a linebacker. You can do that as a corner. Deion Sanders would do that shit all the time. Can't do it as a quarterback. You can't.
Yeah, I agree.
Can't.
Week 12 in college football.
Can't believe we're this far.
All the top 4 seeds get scared but survive, which is what kind of November football is in a way.
Oh, yeah.
However, number 5 Tennessee was not so lucky. They went into South Carolina and got smoked.
Dude, oh my God, what's the quarterback there for South Carolina?
Rattler.
Yeah, Spencer Rattler looked like the guy that was supposed to win the Heisman Trophy 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And
goodness gracious.
Yeah, he looked fantastic.
I think you just do another touchdown in my front yard right now.
He looked really good. That's a bad loss for Tennessee. Plus, they lose Hendon Hooker for the rest of the season, I believe. Injury.
Yeah, torn ACL. That sucks, man.
ACL.
I can't stand that. And we'll get into another one in a minute. But
yeah, so their title hopes go down the drain. Their playoff hopes go down the drain. And now who knows what they're going to do the rest of the season without Hooker at quarterback. They might not win another game the rest of the way. I don't know.
And
that's a look at the schedule.
Down.
Yeah, so a lot happened in one game. But Josh Heupel has them in the right direction. So,
and just on a personal note for Hooker, remember what I said. He's 25 years old.
25 years old. Now you're going to draft him knowing that he's probably not going to play until he's 26.
He turns 26 in January.
He turns 25 in January.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, okay. Turns 25. So you won't get him until he's 26.
Because still not great.
No.
Brandon Weeden,
not good at all, man. Not as a first rounder. 3rd round.
Right.
4th round? Sure. 5th round? Sure. But boy, he probably just lost $20 million. If not more.
The men of Troy go into the Rose Bowl and squeak out one where defense was a myth.
For both teams, yeah.
My goodness.
Unfortunately, your little preseason selection of
I was thinking about that watching that game live, actually. But you know what? Good for him. He shut me up.
That's okay. The Pac-12 is thin. It just is what it is. But that was a good win for USC. And listen, there's an argument to be made if they run the table that they deserve a spot in the playoffs. We'll see. I think there's a little ways to go before that. But
they're gonna get lucky. Well, obviously, one of the 2 teams in the Big Ten losing, so they have a spot there, unless
maybe
it's an epic game. And
listen, they got it. They got Notre Dame this week, and Notre Dame isn't playing a lot better. Notre Dame plays better defense than anybody they've played this year.
Correct.
So,
That's fair.
We'll see. We'll see. But it was a good win for them. And not a bad loss for UCLA because they fought tooth and nail all the way. They looked like they had just as much talent on the field, frankly, if not more than USC. But what's the kid, the quarterback for USC?
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams is really, really good. And, he was the best player in the field, and it made the difference.
Yeah, agreed. One more. The Oregon Ducks by 3 against the Utah Utes. We both had Utah in our Final Four, and they are, I think, we're now 8-3. So a little bit of a disappointment there.
That game was at Oregon.
It was.
Yeah, they're really tough at home, dude.
Oh my God, that place is loud.
They're really tough at home. Bo Nix has played a lot better for them, and like we said, they never. It's tough to schedule Georgia first game of the season. If they were to play Georgia now, do I think they'd win? Probably not. Do I think it'd be a better game? Yeah, I think it'd be a lot better game. So,
but they also screwed the pooch against Washington too. You can't really take that game back either.
Nope. College football road is really, really hard. It's tough to win on the road in college, man.
For sure it is.
Because these guys play just like desperate when they play in front of their home fields, as we saw with South Carolina last week.
Whew. Week 13.
You don't want to talk about Michigan squeaking one out against Illinois?
I said all top 4 teams all squeak by.
Okay. We didn't want to talk. I'm saying you want to talk about the games at all. Okay, no problem.
Well, listen, Michigan kicked the field goal. They barely got lucky. TCU kicked the field goal. They barely got lucky.
I intentionally didn't text you, didn't text, didn't call, didn't nothing. I didn't want to be called a mush or anything like that, so I left you alone.
I had my niece here, and she's 16. She's a young adult here, and she's watched football with me before. However, it was a little different animal watching Michigan almost losing to Illinois. I texted her, I'm like, sorry, babe, to scare you. She goes, no, I know how it is. Like, so it's funny. But, yeah, listen, I mean, that's just Georgia didn't look great either. They scored 60 fucking points.
Ohio State didn't look great.
Yeah.
I mean, that game was close for a long time.
Maryland had the ball down 3 to take the lead.
It's always interesting to see what Michigan and Ohio State do the week before the Michigan-Ohio State game. I mean, it's impossible not to look forward. But what a brutal loss either one of those would have been. Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, it takes you out of the playoff probably, but then it still gives you the Big Ten hope still alive. So let
me ask you something. Michigan loses to Illinois. Oh, and I wanted to say something about Illinois. Michigan loses to Illinois, but then goes on the road and beats Ohio State. They're not in?
Yeah, I know. Well, and then they win the Big Ten championship.
And then win the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, probably.
By the way, I just want to say the reason that game was even close is because Illinois plays exactly the way Michigan plays. It's probably the only team in the conference that plays the way Michigan plays. Maybe Wisconsin, but Wisconsin is significantly worse than those two teams.
Iowa,
but they're also worse this year than normal.
Yeah.
So they're the only team left that plays a run first. Brett Bielema, this is what we said, like how he's turned this program around. Why? Because they're back to being a Big Ten type team. It's not about spreading it out and throwing the ball all over the place. When you have inferior talent compared to everybody else, it's physical, it's in your face, it's grinded out. And they stuck with their running game because they didn't run it particularly well in the first half, but in the second half, Illinois ran it really, really well.
Yeah.
So and that tells you like that's style, right? And that's Michigan style, but that's not like anything that Michigan has played this year, which just is interesting that the game is close because of that. Well, plus, you lost the running back.
Yeah, Blake going down sucks ass, dude. That's
You think
brutal.
He's playing this week?
I don't.
You don't think so?
I don't. I think he'll just, but I think it'll just be a mirage. I think that knee, even if it's a bruise, that's a fucking painful spot for a bruise as a running back. Yeah. That like right under that knee bone kind of thing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I love the kid. He should go to New York. But
yes,
that's tough, especially the week before Ohio State.
Absolutely.
They got some guys, but not like him, obviously. So
we'll
see what they got. We'll talk about that in a minute. But one more thing about Illinois, too. I was texting the guys, same thing. Like, they play. I love the way they play.
Yep.
They were hitting people. There were guys getting murdered on our team.
Old school Big Ten football.
Yeah,
man.
like it was like
and they
cold weather.
You know what's funny is we see all these teams, Ohio State, everywhere you look around, everybody spreads the ball, shotgun, throwing all over the place. Yeah. What's interesting is that used to be the unique style. That's not what Alabama used to do. Certainly not what Ohio State. Ohio State was known as 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
Like they were
Eddie
known
George,
for that.
Robert Smith,
Michigan,
Archie Griffith. Yeah.
It was, we're going to run the ball because we're bigger, stronger, and faster than you, and you're not going to be able to do it. And then little schools started spreading it out and saying, well, we can't compete with you up front, so we'll throw it here. So then the big schools started doing it. So now what's interesting is that what Illinois does, what Michigan does, I'm trying to think of who else like really pounds it.
Georgia? Not really. They kind of spread it out, right?
No, because they got such great skill positions. There's not too many teams that do it. So when you come up against, maybe
they spread it but run it more than they throw.
Chip Kelly does like to run it, but it's a finesse running game. Yeah. It's not like a power running game.
I like that's good finesse.
Yeah. So what Michigan and Illinois do is unique compared to the other teams. So it's funny. You would think they'd be used to it, but that's what made it a good matchup.
Yeah.
It's like my strength is your strength and your strength is mine, and we're going to go toe to toe. And it was a physical son of a bitch game. Like,
so I'm watching that game, 1917 and 20 something degrees and wind whistling and gray. And then I'm watching USC UCLA, 65, clear skies at night. When they got to go into the Big Ten in November.
Make a great point.
Dude.
Make a great point.
Good luck.
Suddenly Michigan will be playing those games at night.
Yeah.
They won't be having noon starts anymore.
Here, have a beer.
Oh, it's one of the California teams. 8:00 start.
Can we get that game right before Halloween where it's like really cold?
Yeah. UCLA and USC are going to be lobbying for Michigan in September.
Oh my God.
They don't want to play them late.
That's hysterical. All right, week 13 preview. We might as well start there. The game, number 3 Michigan at number 2 Ohio State. Not as confident as I was last year in this game. I think our offensive line is actually better. I just think winning in Columbus, we haven't done that since 2000, which is insane. Blake Corum being out, which we think he is brutal for him, for the team, for the fans, for everybody, for college football, for the rivalry, for everything. It sucks. Even I've seen Ohio State people say, I hope he's all right. I hope he plays, because you don't root for that kind of shit. Yeah. CJ Stroud is great, the quarterback from Ohio State. However, there's some times where he gets a little funky.
Yeah, he gets loosey-goosey.
He gets a
little streaky sometimes. Does not love throwing under pressure. Now, not a lot of quarterbacks love throwing under pressure. Cold. Yeah, he does not love the cold either. So, interesting.
Defensively, Michigan's very good. They haven't played a team like this all year yet.
Very good.
Ohio State's improved, but they have a lot to prove from getting pushed all over the field last year. Coaching, I think, is basically even. Obviously, Harbaugh, I think, is during that right now. He's 1-1 against Day last year's game. Day looks like the fucking bad guy from Frosty the Snowman. Special teams both have great kickers. The weather, I think, is supposed to be 45 and mild, and that's in November. You can't complain about that, really. There,
nothing wrong with that.
That's really all I got, dude. Very nervous, obviously. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this game comes down to one thing and one thing only: can Michigan run the ball? If they can run the ball, that means they keep possession. If they can run the ball, that means they're constantly leaning on Ohio State, even if they're getting field goals and not touchdowns as often as they'd like. If they can run the ball, they control the game. Because what Ohio State doesn't do well is run the ball themselves. So they're going to be chucking it all over the place. And we'll see if Michigan can get some pressure on CJ Stroud. This is not the same Ohio State that they've had with Olave and Wilson last year, like
Michael Thomas and whoever else.
Yeah. They don't have the same elite level wide receivers that they've had in the past. So I actually think it's still just as good an opportunity for Michigan here, because I think they're a matchup nightmare for Ohio State in the sense that they run the ball well. Run defense is not Ohio State's strength, and Ohio State doesn't run the ball well, so they're going to have to be explosive against a team that has one of the best defenses in the country right now. It'll all come down to whether it's with Corum or if he's not playing, whoever it is.
Donnie Edwards and Stokes.
Can Michigan run the football? If they can run for, I would think if they run the ball for north of 175 total yards rushing, I think they're going to win that game. I really do. Because that means they're keeping position. It's not even just
you want to keep them off the field.
You're keeping the ball. Ohio State's on the sideline. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Definitely.
And I just think that's the key for them. So
and then that frustrates them. And that's gonna. They don't like
totally.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you'll get a sense of that pretty darn early. You'll know midway through the first quarter, by the end of the first quarter, is Michigan able to run the ball? If they can't, it's a problem because they're a decent passing team, but they're much better when it's off of play action. So
yeah, for sure.
If they can run the ball, it's going to make all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world. But this is the fastest Michigan team that I've seen in quite some time. This is a team that can compete on a national level. I think they could win the game. I think they could win the game. I don't know if they will, but I think they could.
Yeah, I hope so, my friend. Obviously,
I just think it's a bad matchup for Ohio State.
I hope you're right. Will this be the last Egg Bowl and last game for Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss?
I don't know. It does seem like that's going that way. I don't know if Auburn, to me.
I agree. I don't know either.
Listen, they have great facilities. They got tons of money. Like, it's there. The championships are possible there. You know,
Sure.
We know that they can win national titles. Is it that much of a step up from Ole Miss?
A part of me feels like he wants to just go there to beat Nick Saban. Like, but
if you can't beat Nick Saban, would it really be different at Auburn?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I
don't know.
I don't know. Because to me, if you take this job, then this is the one you're going to have to stay there for a little while. Like, that's the job you go to and you stay until you get fired or retire. Like,
there's probably what do you think? Maybe 10, 12 jobs better than Auburn. Auburn's a good job, dude.
It's a good job, but I don't know if it's a good job right now.
But that's why you're getting hired to do it, to fix it.
For sure.
Well, you're right. But let's say Ryan Day goes to the.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got to say it's a top 20 job, right?
Oh, I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, right?
Absolutely.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's that eager to take it.
Although, unless he's just waiting for tomorrow because they play tonight.
You kind of got to have to, right?
Yeah. They play tomorrow night. They play tonight, tomorrow night. No, I can't play a Wednesday night game. No.
Are they? Yeah, they play Mississippi State, right?
Yeah, I think tomorrow night. Thanksgiving night. Yeah. My days are all fucked up because we usually do the podcast on Thursday.
Is it tomorrow night or is it Friday night?
Let me see, Bubs.
Because they used to be the Thursday night game. You used to have 2 NFL games and then that game at night. And then when the NFL put another game on at night, a lot of the college teams switched.
Tomorrow night, brother, 7:00.
Nice. And who's the NFL game at night?
Vikings, Patriots.
I think I'd rather watch Mississippi State. Mike Leach, Lane Kiffin.
You're gonna get points, that's for sure.
Yeah, come on. I think I'd rather watch that game if I'm being totally honest. So,
I tell you, a sneaky good one here, dude. No one's really talking about it. South Carolina coming off a win of a century for them.
Yeah.
Goes to rival Clemson, and Clemson hanging around to those playoff numbers.
I know. I think this is I almost feel like if South Carolina would have lost that game close last week, I would love South Carolina. But the letdown potential here.
I concur.
The game is at South Carolina.
No.
It's at Clemson. And I don't like Clemson. I just think the letdown potential after the big win against Tennessee is huge.
Dude, Rattler's walking around with a beer helmet as we speak.
He probably hasn't been sober all week. So I that's what I worry about. I almost think it would have been a better bet. But I didn't have the balls to take Clemson because I think they stink. I don't think they're that good. But I think it's a classic letdown spot. I really do.
The team we're just talking about, the Iron Bowl, Auburn at number 7, Alabama.
God, this one was on my list of games that I was going to take. I love Alabama because I think Tennessee losing. There are scenarios out there for Alabama to find their way back in. If TCU loses, if USC loses,
unbelievable.
There's an argument to get Alabama back in the 4. If either Ohio State or Michigan wins by more than 2 touchdowns, the other team would be out.
I agree.
Whereas if one team wins by a last-second field goal, I think there's potential for that team still to be a viable option. So I think Alabama's going to go out and put just like Katie bar the door. I think they put a trouncing on them, like really hard, like a really hardcore trouncing on them. But I think they're favored by 20-something, aren't they?
I have something to say about this game in a few
Oh,
minutes.
my goodness. I wonder if I just sold it for you.
Number 9, Oregon at number 21, Oregon State. What was this
Oregon
called?
State is 8-3, folks. This is a real football
They
team.
used to call this game the Civil War. They no longer can say now and because it's all the bullshit. All right.
Oh, is that racist?
Who the fuck knows?
that
Cowboys
what
and
that
Indians
is?
are racist. I don't know what the hell. I mean, it's
Or
ridiculous.
is that what's the other term? When you use someone when you use someone else's like stuff, like if you're an Italian and you cook Mexican food, it's called if anybody out there remembers it, you gotta comment and let us know what the hell that's called. I'm totally drawing a blank on what the hell it is. I hear it all the time too. Anyway, this is a real football game. Is this game at Oregon State?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, this is a real football game, folks. Don't be surprised if Oregon State wins this game. They're 8-3.
Corvallis.
They're 8-3. They play very well at home. And Oregon, if they have a weakness, it's when they go away from home. It's always been the case. They're incredible at home, and then sometimes they lay an egg. Oregon State will be up for this game. Would love to drop an upset on Oregon. It'll be a fun game to watch. Is that Saturday or is that Friday?
Saturday.
Saturday? Yeah, that'll be a fun game to watch.
You say.
Going into your little mini smart machine?
Saturday.
Yeah, that'll be a fun game to watch.
One more from
I'm just telling you, I'm not picking it. I'm just saying, don't be surprised Oregon State wins that game. And when I say those, oftentimes that's what happens. But I don't have the balls to pull the trigger myself. That's a problem.
Last one for me, another huge game in the world of college football playoff. The Fighting Irish go to USC, 7:30 ABC. All the other games would be final. You would know where you stand if you're the Trojans. Uh-oh. You have a spread on this game?
Let me take a look. I have one of those mini smart machines too. I don't know if you knew that.
You should use them once in a while.
No, I have a guy.
Oh.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me come in here. I don't even have a line on Clemson, South Carolina right now.
That's weird. Maybe Rattler is drunk.
I don't know why. I don't have any lines on here right now.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I got to do everything around here.
Yeah, you do. Because on the score site, they don't have it.
That's why score sucks, dude.
Apparently.
Clemson minus 14.5 home against South Carolina.
That's too many points. Good God.
Holy shit, dude. Oregon minus 3 only at Corvallis.
That's what I'm telling you. I'm telling
down.
you. So then you see it's not even that big of an upset if Oregon State wins that game. Oh, now they came up.
USC 5.5.
Yeah, I would love Notre Dame if this game was at Notre Dame because Notre Dame runs the ball really, really well, and USC does not stop the run for shit, as you saw against UCLA.
God. Dude, and their defensive line coach is Michigan's ex-D line coach, too. I love it.
And Notre Dame plays pretty decent defense. We saw that against Ohio State earlier in the season. They play pretty good defense.
Saw it against Clemson.
Yeah, so don't be surprised if this is a close game. I can't imagine USC losing at home here, especially they're going to be hyped. They're not going to lay an egg because they know how big the game is. But this Notre Dame's going to play really physical, and that is not what USC does. You like the word finesse before? USC is a finesse team right now. I think eventually they'll be more physical once Lincoln Riley gets more recruits in there and stuff like that. But right now, they're super finesse. This is not a physical team. And if Notre Dame can run the ball like they've been running it for the last 3 weeks, big offensive line, big running backs, this could be a really, really tough spot for them, dude.
I got an interesting game for you.
You know what it is, dude? This is a looking glass into what USC will look like when they go into the Big Ten. This is what you'll have to play against Illinois, against Michigan, against Wisconsin, against Iowa. This is the type of game you're going to have to play.
Good point. Tennessee with no quarterback, 14.5 points at Vanderbilt.
How are they still favored by
Who's
14
having a decent year? Vandy's having a pretty decent year since Jay Collar's been there. But
they have 6 wins. Do they have 6 wins?
they have 5 wins.
They need this for to play to make a bowl game.
I might put a couple of ponies on that thing.
Tough spot. This is not a bad. Yeah, if we're talking gambling here, this is not a bad spot to throw a money line.
I get the hook on the 2 touchdowns,
or even take the money line. I'm saying because they need to win.
That's not
they need
bad.
to win.
That's not bad.
You know what I mean? Because you probably get a really good price.
That's all I got, brother. You want to bet?
I would love to if I could play this music here because it's necessary. Oh, there it is. Let me see. Is it going to come on? My computer's so slow today.
Yeah, it's not. It's a little cranky today. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. It's not a great computer, but at least it usually works better than it is today.
Listen, maybe it's on vacation mode. Thanksgiving tomorrow. No one's working. True. It's could be a little.
Oh, man. Try one more time, or else we'll go without the music.
Okay. Maybe that might help our luck.
Let's see. Wait, I think it might be gone. I think it's gone. I think. Oh my God, it's so slow. Okay, we're going. Music is on. What do we got?
Well, Peter Calisano loves the Alabama Crimson Tide, so that's a good sign for me. I'm going Auburn Tigers.
Plus
22. Not a great Alabama team. You could argue they could have 4 losses right at this point right now.
They play very good at home, though.
Auburn playing really well for old star running back Cadillac Williams.
Playing so good they fired their coach.
Trying to get the job. Rivalry game. They never go as you think.
Does Cadillac have a chance at the job?
I don't think so, but he should. But if he beats Alabama, he will.
Ooh.
I'm not saying he's going to, but I think Auburn hangs around. 42-31.
Wow, you got him scoring 31 points.
38-20. I'll take it. Give me Auburn plus 22.
I love Alabama in that game. My first game, I'm going down to the state of Kentucky. We got a little rivalry game here between Kentucky Wildcats and the Louisville, what the hell are they? Cardinals?
Yep.
And Will Levis is starting to take over. You're starting to see the kind of talent that he has. They're using him at the end of games. Kentucky's only favored by 3 points. I think they're at home here. I always love these games. Louisville, for whatever reason, is now ranked in the top 25. They're the number 25 ranked team.
I saw that.
I always love this is a great little system bet for you. Unranked home team favored against a road ranked team. So it's like you think the ranked team is supposed to be better, but yet they're underdogs because they're on the road. Give me the home favorite, Kentucky -3 over Louisville. So Vegas is telling you something.
I got to give you credit here, my friend. A couple months ago, as we were doing our college football over-unders, you were in love with Brian Kelly's LSU Tigers. They have way exceeded expectations.
Yep.
They are sitting at 5 in the playoff, which is bananas. That's
real chance for the playoffs.
The committee loves the SEC, drooling all over the place. They're playing a team that we have made fun of basically the whole year. That would be Jimbo Fisher's Texas A&M Aggies. They will go, again,
at A&M, right?
A tough place to play.
It is.
Normally, what are the rats running from the ships? Thanksgiving weekend, everybody's home. Fuck
Did you see the stands last week?
We're 4-7. I'm not going to that game. LSU's only laying 10.
It seems like a lot on the road, doesn't it?
2 teams going in very different directions.
Did you say A&M is 4-7?
4-7.
Woo!
Please give me the LSU Tigers twice on Sunday.
That's a tough spot. It's a ballsy pick because it is a tough place to play, but you make a great point. The team is shitting the bed, and the fans are like, screw you, it's a holiday weekend. I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
You make a good point there. I think this is a tale of 2 teams that play in the same state that are going in the opposite direction right now, and I wouldn't have said
Florida State.
I wouldn't have said this in the beginning of the season, but if you remember not that long ago, I had the Florida quarterback Richardson as a Heisman favorite. That didn't age well.
For about 4 minutes.
That didn't age well at all. And on the other side, listen, Florida State has been trouncing their opponents, and that includes the rivalry game against Miami where they I think they put 40 points on the board, 40 plus points on the board. Their quarterback playing really, really well. He's a candidate for I forget the name of the award, but it's the best college quarterback. He won't win it, but he's actually a candidate for it because his stats are fantastic.
That would be the Davey O'Brien.
Davey O'Brien. I couldn't think of it. So I'm going to take Florida side. This is a big number, if you ask me, for this kind of game, which is a quasi-rivalry game. Florida State's favored by 9.5. It sounds high, but Florida has been bad lately. So give me Florida State minus 9.5 over Florida.
NFL we go. I didn't love the slate this week. I didn't want to touch this game, but I
had a tough time.
All right, I'm not alone there then.
I had a tough time.
You said it before. The Cincinnati Bengals are getting healthy. The Titans, we know what they are. We basically know what they want to run the football down your throat. Tannehill played a great game last Thursday. I'm not going to take it away from him. But they do lack some playmakers on the outside.
For sure.
Cincinnati's going to score. Can they keep up? Give me the Bengals minus 1.5 at Tennessee.
At Tennessee, you're going, wow. Dude,
I know. I don't
Mike
love it.
Vrabel, one of the best coaches in the league. Yeah, I'm going to get against them at home.
I know. I don't love it.
One of the best coaches in the league. Yep, I'm betting against them at home.
I got to double down on my Lincoln Riley thing.
Oh my god. Yeah, so I kind of alluded to this game earlier on. I don't think any team is as good or as bad as they may have looked last week. I don't know that Dallas is, a 40-3 team every week. And I don't think that the Vikings are the kind of team that would normally get beat 40-3. I think that for the Patriots, it's a really tough spot. Weird, strange game against the Jets. Hit the road against what was against a team that was having a really good season. I love betting on good teams coming off bad losses. Vikings are coming off a bad loss. I think they're a good team. I think Kirk Cousins is loving life with an offensive coach. You can clearly see the difference that it's making. You brought up a really good point that he doesn't do so well in the prime time game. So I didn't think about that until you mentioned it, you dick. But I'm going to go with it anyway. I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings less than a field goal. Listen, win the game 24-21, 20-21-17, whatever. Vikings minus 2.5 over the offensively challenged New England Patriots.
All right, dude, I'm doing it again. I'm giving it one last shot here.
You're not going back to Detroit, are you?
No, I don't want to ruin their mojo. No,
okay.
No, I'm not. No. Come on, Danny. Keep going, Danny. Let's go. I'm going Sunday night to the Link.
Ooh.
This is the Packers' last chance to stay alive. And let's face it, the Eagles have not played really great the last 2 weeks. They look a little vulnerable in some spots here. Can Aaron Rodgers circle the wagons?
Wow, God.
I'll take the points.
Of all the games.
I might even take him a little bit on the money line, depending on how my weekend goes.
What's the spread here, though?
7.
That's a lot to give Aaron Rodgers.
Give me Aaron Rodgers plus 7. And maybe if I take a money line, I'll have an update for you guys next week. But give me the points in our little thing.
Nice. I told you earlier in this podcast, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to sit your young starting quarterback because God forbid if your plan was to put him back in at some point soon, the backup comes in and does really well. Well, here are the Jets sitting Zach Wilson, bringing in Mike White against one of, if not the worst defense, probably the Lions are the worst defense, but the Bears have maybe the worst defense in the NFL. Of course, he's going to have a really good game. They're probably going to be able to run the ball again. They're going to be able to throw the ball again. Jets win this one easily by double digits. Give me the Jets minus 4.5, causing massive chaos and problems in New York now. Give me the Jets minus 4.5 over the most likely Justin Fields-less Bears.
You might have to come up north for that week to hear the radio if that happens. Ooh,
oh, dude.
Baby.
I'll tell you what, it's going to be wild. And I think the Jets win this game handily. And it's all the controversy now. All the controversy. Got to go with Mike White because everybody loves the backup quarterback.
That's for sure.
All the fans love the backup quarterback. So you're gonna see that all over the place.
Peter, what's tomorrow?
Tomorrow is what, the 23rd of November? 24th.
No, that'd be today.
24th of November.
What holiday?
Oh, it's Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I have put together here.
Oh. Another game?
Another game to close things out. A little fun as we, when you're a kid, you got a half day of school, you get a little food in, you get like people dress up, like, let's have a little fun here.
Let's have some fun. I love.
So I put together a list of 4. The 4 F's: friends, family, food, and football.
Okay.
I want you to rank them in your order, what you like best to worst.
All right, let me do this again. Friends,
family,
fam,
food,
football, foots. Good boy.
And I will give you mine when you're done.
Can I stop the recording and tell you so that it don't offend to me?
It's funny you say that.
Oh boy. Yeah, I'm gonna piss some people off here.
Or next game. Which game was harder, the Zach Wilson game?
The Zach Wilson game was a lot easier than this. I'm gonna put. Can I combine one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I put friends and fam as one? Friends and family as one, because I got a new system working in my life now. So it's like friends and
I understand.
So I'm gonna put friends, fam 1, and then football, and then food last. That's how I would do it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I would.
I got friends number 1 for me. I see multiple friends during the day for cocktails. So it's always good sharing out when people open your door to you and your family. 2 is football, because duh.
Of course.
3, family, because it's only me and mom now. Dad's gone and brothers are moved out all over the place. So it's
makes it difficult.
But that's why friends and family was a good combo for you too, because it's like she's a bite to some things as well. So it's nice to have all that mixture together. And I got food number 4 as well, because let's face it, you can get it whenever you want.
I was just saying, I can do, first of all, I don't even love turkey. So, where I'm going, I'm like, don't feel the need to make turkey. I can do without it.
Listen, the Hitching Post has a great turkey.
That's my friends and fam. How'd you know that? So yeah, that's the order I would put that in. Yeah. Awesome. I like that though.
Awesome.
We need like 1 G for gratitude. Anyway, 88 in the books. Who do we got?
I got 5 for you, my friend. We're coming to an end of these numbers for me. Number 5, Super Bowl champion, 4-time Pro Bowler, one of my favorite players, former and Jets wide receiver. Rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah, crazy. Too young. Way too young.
Number 4, 4-time Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl 10 MVP, 1978 All-Pro, 3-time Pro Bowler, 1970s All-Decade, College and Pro Football Hall of Fame Steeler, Lynn Swann.
Lynn Swann, yep.
Number 3, 88's a good number, by the way. Number 3, Super Bowl champion.
That Lynn Swann is number 4. That's got to be a good number.
Yeah. Number 3, Super Bowl champ, 3-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, 2000s All-Decades team, has a son that's probably the best receiver in college football right now, and I got to face him for 3.5 hours on Saturday. Former Colts Hall of Famer Marvin Harrison.
Yep.
Number 2, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 1991 All-Pro, 5-time Pro Bowler, 1990s All-Decade, Hall of Fame Cowboys wide receiver, the playmaker, Michael Irvin. And number 1, we talked about him before, 6-time All-Pro, 14-time Pro Bowler, 2000 All-Decade team, Hall of Fame tight end, former Falcon and Chief, Tony Gonzalez.
Very nice list. That's a talent-ridden list.
Yeah.
My goodness. I have no news update this week. I just want to say this. It's Thanksgiving, and sometimes in life it could be really difficult to be grateful. But at least for one day, no matter what's going on, no matter your situation, be grateful, because things could always be worse. I've had a rough little stretch for the last year personally, but every once in a while I like to just sit there and say, you know what though? I'm doing okay. I'm upright. Got this cool podcast with my friend. Got a pretty decent job. Got 2 beautiful kids. Shit isn't exactly the way I want it, but I'm still pretty grateful for what I have and what's in front of me, and just for the day. Hey, you never know, man. We were just talking about Demaryius Thomas, gone way too soon. I see all like professional wrestlers dying too young, athletes dying too young. Nothing is promised. So We should all, at least for the day, tomorrow at some point, think of something. You should be grateful for something, because even if you're just upright, it's better. It's better than the alternative. All right. So just be thankful. Give thanks on Thanksgiving.
Well said, brother.
All right. For Scott Bracey, I'm Pete Colasano. You've been listening to Bump and Run. We'll catch you guys next week.
Happy Thanksgiving. Later.
All right, cool. And I will definitely have this out a little later tonight. Okay.
Awesome. That was fun, brother. Good to be back.
Cool. Absolutely.
Feel
Loved
better,
it.
bro.
Yeah, man. I'll talk to you later.
Hey, if you need anything, call me, dude. Seriously.
Will do.
All right, bro. All right.
Later.
Later.